Is Yesha. I'm a therapist from the Mood Space. On the occasion of International Men's Day, we're here to have a much needed conversation about men's health and well being and how they navigate the challenges around the same. While in the last few years, the conversation around mental health has become more inclusive, we as a society struggle with the notions like men aren't emotional, strong men don't cry, and so many more. These have become a barrier to men talking about their vulnerabilities and asking for support. To speak more about men's mental health and understand the various nuances that we have around the same, we have co-founder Abhinav Sahai of Niswey here to answer a few questions with us. Hello Abhinav, how are you doing?
Hey, hi Yesha. I'm doing good. Uh, yeah, been doing good. Thank you. Thank you for having me here as well.
Thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us today to really deep dive into men's mental health. So the first question for you is, what does mental health mean to you?
It's a difficult question, honestly. Reason being that it is something that is not visible. Especially when the mental health goes down, it is not visible, and which is where so for me personally, it is something. If you're healthy, physically, you can do a lot. You feel like. But same, goes for me, when it comes to mental health, if I'm mentally well, I can do a lot more. Versus if I'm not feeling well, I will be pushing through. I may be pushing through. Uh, but the worst part of of a not good mental health is that the others cannot see. More often than not, at least, as compared to a physical well-being, if you have got a hurt, you've got a fracture, everybody can see, oh, he's hurt and he cannot work. But if you're mentally unwell, most people cannot see, especially who are not close to you, and they will expect something from you and you may not be able to do it, right? And that further deteriorates your mental health. So for me, it means all of these things that you can't express it, you can't, or the others can't see it, and you can't perform, or do whatever, or live a healthy life, honestly. So yeah, it means at various levels, at various things. But yeah, I don't know if I answered it to what you expected, but yeah, that's what it means to me.
It makes a lot of sense, especially the part where you said it's not something that people can see, it's invisible. And I think that's where so much stigma around it comes, because it's difficult for people to understand what something they don't see. So, my next question for you is, are conversations around mental health happening around you in your workplace or in your social groups? If yes, what do they look like?
Honestly, I don't see enough conversations happening. Since I am a big champion within my organization for mental health, so I try to initiate those conversations, and not just within my organization. Even outside of my organization, within my friend circles, social groups. Um, I will be the one who will generally ask this question. We will all ask, right? Hey, how are you? Right? That's generally the question. Then, but with some of my close friends, I will go on, and then later on in the conversation, I will ask, okay, how are you doing mentally now? Right? And a lot of them are surprised. What do you mean by that? Uh, but yeah, I mean, the conversation is not happening, honestly. People are struggling, but they are not. They don't even know that they are struggling. I was just, talking to somebody, just before this meeting, and he said how his co-founder is struggling with mental health challenges since 3 years now, and he's been asking him to go and see a therapist, but the other guy is just, just been refusing. No, no, I'm fine. I don't have a problem. And everybody else around him, sees the problem, but just not accept it. Right. So I don't think there are enough conversations. Even in my family, I've seen a couple of people, whom I can clearly say that, yeah, they should be, going through therapy, but no, they're not. So yeah, that's where I see it is what it is.
Absolutely. And because there are so many stigmas associated, my next question is, what are some of the stigmas that you think are associated with men's mental health, and how do these stigmas show up?
Oh, in a lot of ways. I think one of the biggest one is that boys don't cry. Right? Boys, men don't cry, boys don't cry, whatever. And another one is that men are emotionally strong. I think men are emotionally weaker. Uh, than what is perceived, a lot weaker than what is perceived. The stigma is what makes them, behave in a certain manner that no, no, hey, I don't have a problem with this. Hey, I'm fine. But deep down, it's really bad. Recently I know somebody, who's going through, he had a breakup and was going through, tough time, and I'm trying to talk to him, and he's like, no, no, I'm fine. I am fine. No, I have no problem. I have no problem. He kept saying, and then in about 2 weeks, I could see it. He's not doing well. Finally, I got through him, and he started crying. And then he got very upset about the fact that he's crying in front of me. Right. So, I'm saying that, don't have to worry about it. It's okay to cry. But he got really, all conscious and everything. No, no, I'm not supposed to cry. What do you mean by not supposed to cry? Uh, you know, if you feel like crying, you cry. But that is the biggest stigma that, even for that matter, right? If you're seeing a movie, if the guy starts crying watching a movie, it's made fun of. Uh, right. Um, I've cried many times while watching movies, but yeah, it is, being made fun of, or this is the biggest thing, I think, that men have to be emotionally strong. They can't cry, they can't express, uh, and they have to be the, if a tragedy happens, they have to be the stronger person. Not everybody is the same. I think that's the biggest one I've seen around. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing and being so candid about you yourself, how you navigate through this. So, as a leader in an organization, what are some of the mental health challenges you think your male employees are struggling with? Do you see them reaching out for support?
So I will just extend the question a little bit to beyond my organization also, just to be, cover a larger set in terms of my male friends who are in other companies as well. And in general, I think one of the biggest one is that, that they have to do well. That pressure is coming mostly from the families, that, male members have to be the, the top earner, or, those kinds of things I've seen. I've had conversations where people would come and say that, you know, I've been, my parents are telling me that, again, that same comparison, right? That the next door guy is earning that much and you should be earning that much. And that comes out, in terms of their work, because they would be, thinking about what their parents are saying, or what their, relatives are thinking or saying. And while they're struggling with it, they're not able to talk about it at work. Right. Again, thankfully, I have been able to, open up with a lot of folks by asking, a lot of questions. But I see, most of the male members will not open up, and they will be, going through these challenges, which is, family and society, and like, like the one earlier I said, like breakups, and right, and they will just try to do it, that okay, I will get through it, but they will not open up. uh, and I think the challenge that creates is that, one thing leads to another, and everything, keeps piling onto them. And because they don't ask for support, they end up, struggling far more than what we can see again from the outside, right? Male members are generally, so just to give an example, right, within mood space, when we engage mood space, I started pushing, everybody, and especially it was a very difficult time, the COVID second wave, everybody was struggling, right? Everybody would have lost somebody, or they know of somebody whom they lost, right? So everybody was struggling, but when we engaged, therapy, it was the male members, barely, took up therapy. Uh, I remember one guy had lost his father, during that time, and I asked him, how is he feeling? He said, obviously, I'm not feeling good. I said, okay, just go for the therapy, right? We have the team here. But it was very difficult to convince him to get to therapy. Uh, yeah, I still remember it, because yeah, it was so tough. Finally, he did a couple of sessions, and then he, backed out. He said, "Oh no, I'm not doing it. It's just not for me." So, right. So I've seen that happen. for some reason, males don't. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I think the difficulty is opening up. The most difficult challenge is most people don't open up. They feel that, how can I open up to a stranger? I think that's the one of the common things I have heard a lot. How can I open up to a stranger? And very interestingly, for me, it has been personally for me, it has been the other way around. I'm more comfortable opening up to a stranger because they have probably they don't know me, so they have nothing to judge probably. I think I find more comfort in talking to a stranger rather than somebody I know, because they will have so much history or baggage, and they will try to put certain people into certain situations, while the stranger will just listen to you and just give you honest answer probably with no baggage.
Yes, you're completely correct there.
Yeah.
How
So I think that's what I would say. So we have to do something about it. We have to make this, the people aware that, it's okay to share with a stranger. I think, yeah, some awareness around that is pretty important. It's okay to share with a stranger.
absolutely true. So for you and your organization, how do you think that you can create this space for them to do this? Open up to a stranger and take help and support.
I think we're doing certain things. Obviously, one is engaging the mood space to talk and have these conversations. So we're having certain certain newsletters go out to the team where we talk about certain things, where they would read, even if they would not still engage with therapy, but they will read and figure out, oh, okay, yeah, that could be happening to me, or okay, this is one way to cope up with a certain situation that or feeling that I am going through. So yeah, so awareness, we have to do a lot of awareness building, and content is one part of it, right? So we do newsletters, sometimes we'll do internal group messages, and again, like you guys are talking about it, and I think we're doing another session also next week with the team, with most of the male members, right? So I think even if people don't join, when they see that okay, something this is happening, then they at least feel that okay, yeah, it may be important. I may not be comfortable with it right now, but at least they have the awareness that okay, something is happening and it is important. Maybe not right now, maybe 2 months later, maybe 6 months later, but at least that awareness builds into the subconscious at some level that that yeah, this is also equally important, something to take care of. Right. So yeah, so those are the things I think we are doing. I'm sure there much more can be done, but yeah, as we grow, we learn more and do more.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So tell me, as a founder of an organization, what are some of the stressors that you experience, and how do you navigate through this?
Well, a lot of them. I think the biggest stress has for me, for as a founder, has always been that whether do we have money to pay next month's salaries. I think yeah, that's the biggest one that has been there like forever. I will say, like I was sharing, it's been a little over 11 years now, but still I know that there is money, but still I will still sometimes feel stressed about it. What if we don't have money? I think to pay the salaries is one underlying stress that is always there for me. Um, so that is big one. Some of the other ones are that can we provide enough growth to our people, so that they're happy, uh, right? Yeah. And when I say growth, it's not just financial growth, it's it's professional growth. Are they learning enough? Are they contributing enough? Are they getting enough opportunities to contribute to the society? Or whatever they want to do beyond work, are they getting that kind of uh, uh, you know opportunity? Then I think the other probably thing that stresses me out is everybody getting enough support. Uh, Again, not just work wise, that skill wise, whether you're getting enough support, but also beyond that, right? A lot of a lot of us are, driven by what happened, let's say at home today morning, how my day will go, how my office day will go, will is depending on how my morning went, which may or may have nothing to do with work, right? So, but are we able to provide our people, that support, uh, that they're able to, function effectively? Like I said, mentally दिखता नहीं है, right? So, but can we have that system in place so that we are able to, give that support to them, even if it is not visible? At least the system ensures that they're able to get that support, right? Yeah. So I think, yeah, those are, some of the key things that stress me out. And while we keep working at it, it's still something that is always keeps me awake.
So, how do you navigate through not just these stressors, but also how do you deal with your own mental health? How do you take care of it?
Uh, so I've been through therapy a lot. Um, yeah, I think first time I went to a therapist was about 6, 7 years ago, probably. I think I was probably 30 odd years old. So that was the first time I went to a therapist. But yeah, I didn't continue at that time. But yeah, I mean, last few years I've been, going through therapists, on and off. Uh, that is one. Other thing is, I would try certain apps on, how to make me feel better. I would have tried some of the apps I would have tried is Bloom or Headspace. Some of the things. Basically, trying to. So the objective of these apps would be to, make me feel calm. And usually, it will be something that I would do in the morning, so that mentally I am better in the morning, and the day is better. Because if in the morning, sometimes I will have these anxiety issues, uh, and then if I wake up, and a lot of times I wake up with anxiety as well, still. But the thing is that when we're trying so many things, we are able to get that down to a certain level, uh, right? And eventually that helps us in, uh, it helps me personally, in basically if my mind is calm, I am able to deal with everything that is coming around with a uh, much more sensible way, rather than reacting to those things. I will take them in, and I will think about it, and then take the next steps what is to be done. Again, I'm very irregular, but I still try to do a lot of gratitude. So I will write down something I used to, when I'm doing really good, I and I do it every day. But doesn't happen so regular with me. But yeah, once again, when I'm low, then I will let go of it. But then when I'm feeling better, I try to get back to it. So I express gratitude sometimes in writing on my diary, sometimes digitally on my notes, wherever possible. But yeah, try to do that. Sometimes once in a while I will write long letters to certain people as well, and just thanking them for no reason. I do that as well, and it's that is really helpful. I think when I do that, and I express. Um, I remember once I did. I wrote 2, 3, or 4 pages of a letter to the parents of a colleague. So yeah, so it makes me feel good. Uh, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing so openly about your journey. I think this has given a lot of learning of how you can navigate through your own mental health. So the last question for you would be, to all the listeners or the people watching this, what is something that you would like to tell them?
Well, I think and especially if you're talking about men's mental, I think the biggest thing I would tell people is, please talk. Most of the men don't talk. They don't express. They don't share. I think it's a big, big, big problem. Uh, I think that's very big problem, that we are not talking about what we are going through. We are thinking that we are in this alone, or we are thinking that, kya hi hoga, what will happen even if I tell anybody. No, the other person, yes, you're right. They will not be able to solve your problem, but talking helps. It helps a lot. Whoever you're comfortable with, or find a stranger, like I said. But talk. I think that's the biggest thing I would tell people.
Thank you so much for sharing that and giving your valuable time and insights on this entire conversation. We really hope that this conversation opens up more channels for similar conversations in the near future to happen.
Yeah, I hope so.